Good morning, folks. Councilman Rasmussen here, coming to you with my update from our February 6th, 2023 council meeting. It's actually a pretty short meeting. We only had a couple of small agenda items, so hopefully it'll be a fairly short update. First and foremost, things to have on your calendar. There were a couple of different updates from last week. Last meeting. One of which I let you know that there was the Kent County MPO was doing a planning meeting last Monday, so it was the 30th of January, to talk about the intersection of Route 300 and Route 6. It was at the firehouse. A lot of people showed up. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it, but I did hear a lot of what the conversation was. There is an additional way to get feedback into that if you were not able to make it to that meeting or you'd like to provide additional information. Actually, on the town's Facebook page, you can find a link to fill out an online form to provide some additional information. So if you'd like to provide more feedback regarding that meeting from the Kent County MPO about the intersection of Route 300 and Route 6, you can go online and do some additional feedback right through there. So keep that in mind if you feel like you missed it. That's how I'm going to be putting in my information, hopefully here in a few minutes after I get done doing this video. Other updates, every year, and some folks know this, we do a tax exemption for senior citizens to help mitigate the impact of their town property taxes. There are certain qualifications for it. There are income-based qualifications, but if you would like to receive that property tax exemption and you qualify for it, you have to submit your application to them. It's an online application, or you can pick one up at Town Hall, but it needs to be done by March 10th, 2023 to apply for this tax year. So if you're interested in that tax exemption for senior citizens under certain income requirements, make sure you get one of those applications, get it into the town before March 10th. Another update, there is an election coming up for the town of Smyrna. There are actually 3 seats that are being elected this year. The term for mayor, which is a 2-year term, the council person from District 2, which is actually a new district that was created after our redistricting last year. So this one is mostly the south east portion of town, Sunnyside, Bon Air, Hickory Hollow, that area. It's a new district, so if you live in that district and you're interested in running for council, it's an open seat. You're not running against anybody at this point. And then one of our at-large seats. And at-large seats, like what I hold, represent the entire town. Everyone in town can vote for an at-large seat. Those 3 are up. The election is going to be Tuesday, April 25th. You can vote at Town Hall from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. But if you would like to register, you have to file for registration or file for that seat by Monday, March 20th at 4:30 p.m. And you can fill out those forms online to register if you'd like to run for council. The couple of other little updates. Folks may have seen this. The Smyrna Police Department is going to be running our Smyrna Citizens Police Academy again this year. It starts April 10th. It runs Mondays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. You have to be at least 18 years old, and it's available to 25 people. But if you'd like to learn more about the police department, how police operations and public safety works here in our community, and you are at least 18 years old and you're free on Monday nights, you can apply to participate in our Citizens Police Academy. You can find the information for that on the Smyrna Police website. And those are the big ones that are out there, the big little sort of updates for this month. As far as the agenda for town, we really had 2 main items that were actually part of our agenda last night. One was figuring out a proposed or temporary location for our planning and inspections offices, and the other was to have a conversation about the town's policy as it relates to refunding utility deposits. The quick one here is the planning and inspections office. The current Planning and Inspections Office is in its third temporary home in the last 4 years, and they made that pretty clear. That's frustrating, obviously. I think we would all be frustrated. Finding space for town staff is becoming more and more difficult because the buildings have to meet certain requirements. There has to be public access and some of those security controls and all of that, and we just need space. Town hall is not large enough for this town as it has grown, and we've had to move people around. So this is another one of these because the planning and inspection staff had been in town hall at one point, then had moved to 22 North Main Street, the old school district administration building, and now they are in the building behind that. Both of those buildings, 22 North Main and the little building behind it, are part of what is going to be the new Duck Creek Regional Library. And that project is moving forward with an expected start for construction in the summer. That means that we need to find a home for them fairly quickly. We looked at a couple of options, leasing some space, putting in temporary trailers, and ultimately the best option that we came with, and is also the most cost efficient, is to actually expand and remodel some of our space out at the Public Works building out in the Smyrna Industrial Park. It's not ideal. There is some unused space there. We can build a few new offices and divide up some of the space that's there and provide some space for them. But the reality is that the current town hall and how we have people spread out doesn't meet the needs of our growing town. And there's a bigger conversation to be had about where we should have a town hall, where we should have most of our offices, what sort of access do we need for the public to those things. I think there's a lot of questions. We're not unique in asking these questions. You can look at a lot of different towns. There's a lot of, as I've heard, we should have done A or we should have done B. Build a big municipal center where your police and your town staff and everybody are all in one location, or we should have bought this piece of property a long time ago and built something there. The reality is that we're going to have to find a solution, and it's probably going to be expensive because anytime you have to build a building or do something like that is tricky. But in the end, as the town continues to grow and we need room for the staff that it takes to actually operate the town, they need offices, they need places to work. So we're going to come back to it. But the temporary decision that was made was to renovate some of this space out at Public Works. So you're going to see the Planning Inspections Office, if you happen to go there all the time, is going to be moving out to Public Works. It's a little bit less convenient for those of us who like to just walk over there for meetings and things. But in the end, it is the short-term workable solution, and then we're going to have to come up with a long-term solution for where that staff exists. The other item that was of discussion, and we had some folks from the community who came in to talk about this, is refunding utility deposits. There is confusion about this, and as we've learned, this has been applied differently over the years. So the town code says that the town doesn't refund utility deposits. They take a deposit, they hold it until that account is closed, and they will apply it to that account if an account goes into default. Basically, it's the way that town makes sure that if someone doesn't pay their electric bill and sort of runs off, we have a little bit of money to help make that up because we already had to buy that electricity. It's not profit that we can sort of write off or something like that. It's a direct loss for the town. The problem is that the town, for one reason or another over the years, has behaved differently with that. Back in 2011, apparently, it was decided that the town would reimburse people after 24 months for their deposit. When I moved to town and I bought my house, we paid our deposit, and after 2 years, it was credited back to our account. So that was pretty cool. I didn't mind that. I don't think anybody really would. In 2013, a decision was made so that it would only apply, the credit on the account would only apply towards property owners versus renters, which actually creates some legal issues that I don't think were considered at that time. And then in 2021, it was decided to go back to what exactly the code says, which is we do not refund utility deposits until those accounts are closed. Well, different things have been communicated to different people over the years. The council person sitting right next to me who signed up for her account 30 years ago has never received her deposit back, versus me who signed up in 2013 or 2014 got mine credited to my account. There's obviously a problem with that. And we had people come in who said, like, I was told I would get my money back and now you're telling me you're not. Like, there's confusion about this, which is totally legitimate. Unfortunately, different decisions have been made administratively. The code has never been changed. The code says what it says, but administratively people have treated this differently. And we need to come up with a workable solution that lives up to the requirements that the town has, and the promises and the things that were made to people along the way. Nobody's going to be, not everybody's going to be happy with this, because in the end, it means that, somebody, well, I was told this, but I'm not going to get that kind of thing. We have to live up to the town code, and if the town code doesn't make sense, then we have to change the town code, not just make changes sort of willy-nilly about how we want to interpret that town code, because that creates the problem that we have right now, which is miscommunication. Things look different for different people. That's not what we want. So that is going to be a topic of conversation at our charter review committee, to dig into that deeper, go through all of the back things, what has been communicated, what exactly our legal requirements are, and try and come up with a solution for that. So if you're interested in that, the Charter Review Committee meets, it's actually going to be on the agenda for their next month meeting, because the next meeting is in a couple of days. But it's certainly a question out there. People feel strongly about it, and I think there's a lot of confusion that we need to take some steps to begin to remedy. But those were really the big items from our agenda last night. Not a lot of action happened, so maybe we'll see a little bit more action at the second February meeting. Again, if you're interested in submitting some additional feedback regarding the Route 300, Route 6 intersection, go on the town's Facebook page. You can also find the link on the Kent County MPO website if you wanted to go there to submit their form. But there's links right on the Facebook page for the town that you can find and submit your feedback for that. And if you're interested in running for council, you've got another month or so, month and a half to sign up for it. So hope everyone is doing well. As always, if you have any questions or need any assistance, please reach out. Happy to help when I can. Have a great day. Take care.